So, today I have the great honour of interviewing Barry Scott. I've known Barry since 1985, so we are talking an awful long time for our friendship. Barry has played for the United Kingdom in international tournaments, world championships, and he is our first interview here on Petanque Coach. So I'm very honoured to be in the presence of such a renowned player of such exceptional skills and knowledge. So let's get on with it then, Barry. So, what inspired you to pursue petanque at the top level? What keeps you motivated today as well?
I discovered the game while on holiday in France, like a lot of people do,
Yeah.
back in the day, and it was going back quite a long time. But I was quite surprised to find that the game was being played in this country,
Okay.
although sort of in its infancy. When you think the game now goes back to mid 70s, really, when
Yes.
we joined
Wow.
international federations and it became serious.
Yes.
And yeah, found it was being played locally to where I lived, and I was really quite shocked. But so that's the basic. I mean, I suppose it's happened to lots of people. Um, yeah, so my motivation, well, I still love the game. Basically, that's the only motivation I have at the moment.
Perfect.
Um, as long as I can still play at a reasonable level, that obviously I don't have any international aspirations. Um, but yeah, my that's my inspiration. When I first started, I met some great people,
Yeah.
and most I'm still friends with now after many years, even though um, either I haven't played or they haven't played for a long time.
Wow.
But this is a game where you do make friends.
Yes.
Um, it goes without saying that you know it, if there were like-minded people and friendly people playing the game, then you wouldn't play,
Yeah.
because we have to understand this is not. It's still a minority sport in this country, and it takes a certain type of person to play it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's my motivation. Really, has always been the people I play with, because without those, there is no game, is there? So yeah.
Exactly. And you're enjoying it just as much now as sure as the day you started.
Well, yeah, I still enjoy the game.
Yeah.
It's harder. It seems to be harder than it used to be. But having said that, um, in this country, yeah, I can still hold my own, I suppose.
Good man. I know that I've played with you enough times to know you still do. You still bring, the pointing, the shooting, the mental side, and that is a great thing to have still, definitely. So, could you describe for me your proudest moment or your most memorable match in your, petanque career?
Um, to single out one is difficult. I think any time you play for your country, it's going to be a proud moment.
Yes.
Starting at the top, you've got world championships, and nowadays you've got a lot of options now that you never used to have in the past.
Yes.
So we've got mixed, we've got ladies, we've got juniors, we've got all sorts.
Yes.
In the past, it wasn't as easy as that. There weren't so many opportunities for people to represent their country. So those early days of playing in world championships were quite special, really,
Yes.
because whatever people say about today's game, excuse me, is it was quite difficult to qualify for anything back in the day. It
Yes.
was, and that's, I think the standard was probably better for the top few teams.
Mm.
Nowadays, I think the overall standard is much better, going down a long way.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Wow.
that those will be the proud. I can't pick out one particular. I suppose the first one is always important,
Yes.
um, but mainly it's. I've only ever played with friends,
Yes.
so I've never picked teams because they were good players necessarily.
Yes.
If you can't get on, if you can't get on with your teammates, then you're never going to win anything really.
No, no. The cohesion is the most important thing, the team cohesion, definitely.
Yeah, I think that at any level, if you were French champions, you could pick any three from 10, and you'd still have a good team. And even
Yeah.
if they never spoke, it would work. But that doesn't work in this country,
No,
where like team spirit is quite important and
absolutely.
is worth a couple of points a game, really. You know.
Definitely. Yes. Especially when it comes to discussing tactics and moving games
Yeah,
through and confidence
exactly.
and
Yeah,
piece
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
presence as
You're right.
well is very, very important. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
could you describe your, I don't know, your finest shot, your most memorable shot and what happened for you? Good or bad?
Well, this is difficult because, like, there's the technical shot. You might make a carry at 10 meters and think, "Oh, that was good," but it depends in the what is the context
Yes.
of the shot. Um, and the one I don't remember many to be honest, but one that does spring out was I suppose about 10 years ago now, before COVID certainly. I was playing in New York in the annual London New York Challenge,
Yes.
and my teammates were Jerome Rousseau and Keith Vines. And Keith, in those days, was fairly new to the game.
Hmm.
Anyway, we ended up, we'd never won this challenge, by the way.
Okay.
We ended up playing the number one American team, and obviously we weren't expected to beat them. But in the context of the overall competition, it sort of meant if we won this game, we could win the cup.
Right.
Long story short, we were losing 8-11 on the last end of a timed game. So we needed three to play another end.
Yes.
To get five was going to be difficult. I can't describe the whole thing, but I ended up with one ball in hand. We had 1 point on the floor, and the opposition had two ball, second and third.
Okay.
They were about a meter apart. But what we'd realised and what they hadn't is that all the rest of the ball were ours. They'd shot a couple of times and missed.
Right.
So the only way we could get anything out of this is if I shot the first ball, made a carrow on that ball, and that ball hit the other one which was a meter away. I mean, you're talking about one in 1,000, really.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
Made a carrow on the front ball, that hit the other ball. They both went out. Jerome jumped up in the air, went and tried to shake their hand, and they didn't know what was going on. They hadn't realised that all those balls were ours, and we got five to win the game.
Amazing.
And that was the first time that we actually won that challenge,
Wow.
London, New York.
Wow.
But yeah, you could do it 1,000 times.
Yeah,
You wouldn't do it again. But
definitely.
in the circumstances, it did mean that we won the challenge. So
Challenge. And Jerome's a
yeah,
great player, as we know, and a phenomenal shooter. And for you to have hit the winning shot there must have been special for you.
yeah. Well, funnily enough, he's my neighbour and he lives 200 yards from me now.
Right.
He doesn't play anymore, but I still
Yeah.
see him and his family quite
Yeah.
often.
Fantastic.
Um, and the occasional time that he does pick up his ball, he's still pretty good.
He's still got it.
It
Yeah.
wouldn't take much for him to get back
Yes.
um, to where he used to be.
Yeah.
Talking back in the 90s, I suppose.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he
Top
was
level.
a top guy and
Yeah.
played at a good level in France before he even came to England.
Yes.
And that makes a difference.
Yes.
You know.
Definitely. Yeah. It's so for you, obviously you've played at the top level for your country and abroad in France and many other countries. What's your long-term goals in the game? And do you have a legacy that you want to leave for the game in the UK?
My long-term goals are to get to the end of the next competition. That's uh,
And win
I
some
mean,
Theodore.
obviously, because I don't really do veterans,
Okay.
um, there is, I know I could, but
Yes.
because I don't do veterans, um, there's no real long-term goals, if you like,
Okay.
but only to carry on enjoying the game as long as I can. You know,
Yeah.
that's enough for me at the moment.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Um, but I still enjoy, having coming up against some of the top players because
Yes.
that makes you,
Keeps you
puts you in your
motivated and
place.
keeps you
Yeah,
strong
yeah,
and strong in the mind as well, which
yeah,
is very
yeah, yeah.
important. Yeah, yeah. It's and is there a reason you don't play veterans or you just it's not for you?
Um, well, I've done it
Yeah.
basically.
Okay.
Um, I, I've won it twice,
Mm.
and to keep doing the same thing, um, it, it's I wouldn't say it's getting easier.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got far more over 55s
Yes.
now than we ever had. So any competition that's veterans is usually quite good. It's
Yes.
just that I prefer to play against younger people. That's all.
Yes. No, I understand. Yeah.
Um, and like I say, I've done it. I
Yeah.
still don't think, to be honest, that some of the top countries in Europe take it seriously.
Okay.
You know,
Interesting.
evidence this week. I don't know if you watched any of
I watched
the.
some of it. Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
it was very obvious that Fazino and Susho wished they were somewhere else.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
probably wish they were playing later in the week in the big competition,
Yeah.
but yeah, they were definitely not up for it.
No. No. And no
No, I can understand it.
communication or any
No,
team
no,
cohesion there. No. No.
no, no, they
They
didn't want to be there, did they?
No, they
No.
appeared very disinterested in each other and also in the games. So, which
Yes,
is
yeah,
no good if you want to do well. So it's
that's true. Of
yeah,
course, that's true at any level, really.
yes.
But you
So
have to sort of be up for it. I'm sure there were many other French people who would have loved to have been there playing that
absolutely,
competition. You
yes,
know,
yeah. Unfortunately, selection is the big thing in France, isn't it? Which
yeah, of course,
never
yeah.
really worked in the UK. Selection it caused more trouble than
Not
anything.
really.
No,
No. Well, the problem is who selects the selectors. That's
exactly.
the thing, you know.
Yes, yeah. They
But
don't
yeah,
always
it's
get the game right, unfortunately.
no,
No. So,
no.
but enough of that good stuff. For
Yeah.
you, I'm guessing you don't but I may be wrong, necessarily have a training program or regime but do you have any preparation either mentally or physically now for the game? Because we're all getting a little older and it's important, I feel, to work on pain points, maybe on different things. I've just spent a weekend in France myself doing exactly that and just wondered if you had any things like that.
I don't train. I don't train that much, to be
Hmm.
honest, because I
Okay.
don't do many big comps.
Yes.
So, and I think you can overtrain once you get to a certain point.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I don't have to. I don't have to think about pointing much.
No.
If I think I'm going to be shooting, then yeah, I might throw a few ball during the week before,
Yep.
um, because I'm not. It depends on the level of the competition, obviously.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
yeah, if I know I'm going to be shooting a competition, I probably would a couple of days before. But other than that, I don't do any training. No,
Yeah. Okay.
as long as I'm physically fit enough, that's the most important thing.
That is the
You
most
know,
important thing. Yeah.
these days are long days. If you get to finals, it's
Yes.
hard work.
Yes. And to keep your mind and your mindset at that level, the focus is it, it is
Yeah, it is.
difficult. It's an
You
art.
need, yeah,
Yeah.
you need to be able to switch on and switch off. You can't
Yes.
concentrate 100% for a whole day.
No.
It doesn't work. You
No.
know,
No.
you need to just play the game, switch off, and try
Yeah.
and switch back on again.
Yes.
Um,
100%.
the mental side of this game, as I'm sure you know, is is so important. Really,
Exactly.
you see good players around all the time, and you think, why have they never done anything? And usually, it comes down to the mental stress in the game. If you
Right.
let it get to you,
Mm.
I mean, some people are like that. You can't help it, you know.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. It's they crumble when the pressure is highest,
Yeah,
whether
that's
it's
right.
their own internal pressure or from an external source. So yeah, it's
Well, yes, yeah.
yeah. So has your style or technique evolved over time, or have you set your style when you were younger
Um,
and stuck with it?
I think my sort of it probably hasn't changed a lot. I mean, just now and again, I don't do it much nowadays, but you can get lazy in your technique. Um, and it's always quite good to, if you see yourself on streaming or something like that, to have
Yes.
a good look at yourself
Yeah.
and think, well, hang on a minute. Yeah, I do look as if I'm not giving it everything, you
Yes.
know, or I'm slightly standing in the wrong way, you know.
Yeah.
Just have a good look at yourself and just make those small adjustments. I
Yes.
mean, I'm not going to change my style, you
No,
know, at
you're happy.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if it works, just tweak it now and again,
Yeah.
but otherwise leave things alone, you know. Don't get obsessed with technique. I mean, to have a lovely technique like some of the top players,
Yes.
that would be great, isn't it? But I haven't, so
No, that's fair enough. And in terms of preparation from either the past or going forward for big competitions, have you had any particular strategies for technique, mindsets, things like that? Game
I,
tactics?
I mean, if I know who the opposition is,
Yeah.
then I do sometimes think ahead and think of tactics.
Okay.
You can do that in this country because you sort of know everyone,
Yes.
you know. And this is one of the disadvantages, I think, for our top teams
Mm.
because yeah, they play each other and they're at a good level, but they all know each other's game inside out.
Mm.
If you go to a competition in France,
Yeah.
you don't know anyone.
Yes.
You know, you've got they could be local champions or they could be just from a street round the corner.
Yeah.
You have to quickly work that out when
Yes.
you play them, which is something we don't do in this country anymore
No. No.
because as you say, for our top teams, unfortunately for them, they do know everyone,
Yeah.
and if they don't, there's a good chance they're going to beat them quite easily.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree.
That's just what it is.
It doesn't give also them the ability to deal with high pressure and high stakes in games because that there is an almost a comfort factor of knowing your
That's
opposition,
yeah.
and that can be a good thing, but in my opinion, and obviously yours now is not necessarily a great thing. So
No, I think to suddenly go to European Championships
mm,
um, when the level steps up a bit
yes,
is not so easy, you know. Um, Having said that, with the number of countries playing now in World Championships and European Championships, there's a lot of easy teams that we can beat. I won't say with our eyes closed, but you know, we are not at that lower level of teams. We're not in the top bracket, but we're
yes,
certainly not in the bottom bracket either.
yeah,
And you know, all we can do when we go to places like the Europeans is to beat the teams that we should be beating.
yes,
And then, if you're lucky, you get to play a good team, and you might give yourself a chance.
We've seen that
But
recently in the last few years in the veterans where we've come up against the French and narrowly missed out, and
yeah,
which is an interesting thing to consider, definitely.
it is.
Mm.
But I mean, we had a chance to beat them this week, and
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
we didn't.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. You've got three ex-world champions in the team.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh, there was a good chance that they might come back and win,
Yes.
but you know, for them, they're used to this pressure all the time. That
Yeah.
is the difference,
That
and
is.
our teams aren't.
Yeah.
There's no way you can get that other than going and playing against
Yeah.
those
Yes.
top teams. And if I can just refer back to the veterans,
Mm.
uh, they played France.
Yes.
It's worth going for that game, but
Absolutely.
the rest of it, as far as I can see, they would have learned nothing
Yes.
because we didn't play anyone who was. They wouldn't beat three old grannies down the bottom of my road.
Yeah.
They weren't. We didn't play anyone at all.
Yes. So no benefit apart from one game, unfortunately, from what you're seeing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in terms of that, obviously we've discussed teams and cohesion, but for you, what's the most important thing when it comes to teamwork in a game, and what do you value most in a team or teammates?
Well, teamwork is important, obviously, and knowing your team is is very important. Know your own team first, and try and get to know the opposition as quickly as you can.
Yes.
Um, Generally, I think it's a good thing to have a team captain, if you like, but not someone who's there to make every decision,
Mm.
because most things are. If you know your team, you don't need to say much at all.
Yes.
The captain should only really use his captaincy, if you like, if it comes to a disagreement, you
Yeah.
know. But there is usually a natural captain in the team,
Same.
um,
Mm.
and communication is everything, really.
Yes.
But knowing your team is the most important because tactics are always different, aren't they? Depends who you play with.
Tactics, I've often said that tactics are always right when they come off, and they're terrible when they don't. It's
That's right. Well, that is everything, isn't it?
yeah.
Because you can't. This is, and then we're back to the problem where we were talking about earlier, where
Yeah.
our teams, we know everyone so much.
Yes.
Our top teams, um, they find it easy,
Mm.
and you would have done this as well. You're suddenly playing a team that you know you're going to beat. Your game changes.
Yes.
You know, you then play your next game, and you're playing someone you think is more likely to beat you.
Mm.
You have to change your tactics. It's
Totally.
not the same every time,
Yes.
and um, that's just the way it is. I don't think even top French teams, um, they tend to stay. Their tactics tend to stay the same.
And their teams seem to stay
They're
the
the
same.
same.
Yeah. Kante and Susho have been playing together for a very, very long time. So
Right.
they
I
know
mean, that is
each other's
partly
game.
selection and
Yeah,
partly the fact that they keep producing the goods.
exactly. Yeah.
You know,
People
and
knock Kante and he delivers no matter what. So yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
And
to think that these guys are playing in the veterans,
yes.
um, and I remember them when they were young people,
Yeah.
when they're young players,
Yes.
and they were good then,
Yeah.
and they're still good
We're
now.
good
And the
now.
ones who if you think about it, the ones who are still good are the ones who have a pretty good technique.
Yeah.
So it may be controversial, but if you look at Rocher, and you couldn't recommend anyone to play
Yeah.
like he plays.
Unless you're a coiled
Um,
spring. Yes. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, how do you think he will look, and how do you think he'll play in 20 years' time?
That's the thing.
because if you go back to the people you just mentioned,
Mm.
Susho is very simple.
Yeah.
Fazino has never changed in 40 years,
Yeah.
and neither has Kante.
I'd say.
And
Yeah.
all of them are very simple, nothing extravagant at
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
Two things, you really have to be able to still do that when you're 60 or 70 years old. So it's
Exactly.
no good being like I don't know, Didier Choupé or something like that.
Yeah.
When he was young, yeah, his arm used to go around in circles.
Yeah.
But if you watch him play now,
Yeah.
it still looks pretty good. In fact, it looks a lot better now than it did when he was young.
It's more controlled now, more doucement, as they say, just more
Yeah,
slow and controlled,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Yeah.
So in terms of that, have you got any special secrets that you could advise, or a secret, or something that you maybe would help new players with if they showed a certain level of achievement, where you could say, if you do this, your game will change? Is there anything extra special
Um,
you don't discuss with many people?
Not really, because when I'm playing, I like to speak to my team
Hmm.
and discuss what options are. And it doesn't bother me that the opposition is listening,
Yeah.
because that's how I learned.
Yes.
And it doesn't happen enough now. You get the one that get certain teams, who are a bit gobby, as we say,
Yeah.
um, but they're not actually. Then they're usually bumming themselves up. Whereas for me, I've always said, well, if we do this or if we do that, this might happen.
Yeah.
Because then when it happens, it's not luck.
Exactly.
And that's, we don't, of course, with the later rules and 1 minute and all of that, you don't always have time to discuss these things or discuss many options. Because sometimes I mean, don't get me wrong, the 1 minute rule is good,
Hmm.
but there are times when you need a bit more because there are options and it's 12 all and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and to be honest, most people who play in this country, they haven't got an umpire standing at the end of the piece.
Yeah.
So it still has to be self-regulated,
Yes.
you know, in the main.
Yeah.
All these lots of the modern rules, they only work if you've got an umpire watching every ball that you play.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the game is almost like split in two halves now.
Yes,
You know,
it's and it's confusing as well for people. So it's
well, it can be like you can't obviously if you're playing out even in France in the square, you've got one umpire and there's 50 teams.
yeah.
Um, you can't get a yellow card, can you?
No,
How can you
no.
possibly get a yellow card? You can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might be doing enough to warrant it, but you're never going to get one.
Never going to get one.
So
Mm.
like I say, when you're playing in ordinary competitions, yeah, you'd need far more. You'd need an umpire
Yeah.
for every game, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So a couple of just quick fire questions. Favorite brand of bull and why, and model?
ATX probably.
Okay. Very good.
Um,
Yeah.
they they they're not as good as they used to be. To be honest,
Okay.
they
Interesting.
used to be really good,
Mm.
but I play with MS now. Quite frankly, you get to the point when it doesn't matter what you play with, within reason.
The hand
Um,
is the actual
yeah, I mean,
thing that, yeah.
I think if you play all the time, you get to know your own ball,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
and certain ball can feel different, but
Yes.
quite frankly, it's not. Um, it's one of those things. It's a marketing thing. I think you could play with
Exactly.
anything. You know,
Yeah. Definitely. And you see
yeah.
these
The
guys when they're
HX,
too, yeah,
yeah,
you see,
HX.
Rocher and Kante, where they're shooting 1,000 ball, they're not shooting with exactly the
That's
same
true. All
size.
sorts of
They're
different ball.
all
Yeah,
sorts of different
exactly.
things, and they
Yeah,
don't care.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
okay,
size and weight obviously is,
it's
they're
important.
not playing with all different sizes and weights.
Yes, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's not within a couple of mil either way, and
okay.
a few grams either way doesn't make any difference at all.
So, what do you think changed with ATX when you said it got slightly worse? What?
I think the old ADX
Hmm,
were a bit softer,
okay,
um, and of course they've always been expensive.
yes,
And the thing is, if you played with them for a whole season, they were knackered at the end of the season. So that was that. You wouldn't go back. And I think they must have tweaked the formula
make it a
because
bit
they
more
do
longevity.
last a lot longer
Mm,
now.
yeah,
They're obviously a bit harder, but they still feel good.
yes,
Um,
they
and
perform
I
well.
think
Yeah,
they
yeah.
probably are the best
And the
when
brand,
you think they're all
the
made in the same factory anyway.
yeah. I use MS as well, as you know, the Torque 2 that I have. What do you use? Which brand, which model in MS do you use? Is it the 2110 or the 120 or just,
Yeah, yeah. 211. That
yeah,
sounds about
yeah,
right. It's
that's
got to
about
be
the
that.
softest one they do. Yeah.
Yeah, something, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So final question. Dream team, apart from me, who would it be and why?
Yeah, well, I could think more of the nightmare teams. uh,
I think
I
we'd
mean,
agree on a lot of those.
to be honest, I would go back um, to the older players, which I do know some of the more modern ones, but
Yeah.
um, Fazino definitely,
Hmm.
Foyo,
Okay.
and probably Kante.
Okay.
That's a dream team.
And
Um,
UK dream team?
Well, it depends how many eras you're going over, because
It's your, you can choose. You can choose.
yeah, I mean, there've been some really good players in the past,
Yeah.
um, and they've proved it while they've been here. I can think of like Patrick Tavernier, for instance,
Hmm.
who I know is still playing in northern France.
Okay.
Um, I mean, he was one. I mean, he's a French junior champion from
Yes.
back in the day. So came from Arles,
Mm.
and so had all the pedigree, knew everything about the game, and was a nice
Yeah.
guy. Played
Yes.
well, um, and that brings you back to like the old Norfolk Square guys.
The old days. Yeah.
Could be any of them really, because we
Yeah.
never had. We did have teams, but yeah, if you wanted to win things, you need people who are winners.
Of course.
And they
Yeah.
weren't always the best. They weren't always the best players. But Doug Curtis is one. You'd remember him from back
Yes.
in the day.
Yeah.
Um, he never was the best player,
Yeah.
but you look at his record,
Yeah.
and I don't think,
Yeah.
unless some of the modern guys have done it, but to play in six successive world championships
Executive worlds. Yeah.
um, takes some doing. And it
Yeah.
wasn't easy back in the day, whatever people may say. It was actually it was harder.
I
But
remember very well how hard it was when 100 plus
yeah,
teams at Copthall
oh
and at
yeah,
least
yeah,
50 of them were good and
yeah.
50 were there to say that they
It's hard.
played against someone who did well. And there was an honor to get through to the last 32. And that seems to have disappeared now. Six
Yeah,
to eight
yeah,
teams turning up and
sadly, yeah.
it's
I
not
mean,
the
I'm
same.
sure I'm sure it will come back
Yeah, I hope so.
because but you have to remember there's a lot more options for
Yes.
young people, particularly.
Yeah.
Um, you know, you can watch sport, you can play anything you like. There's loads of things, and petanque is always going to be that minority sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't really suit the English mentality, and that's the main reason I think.
Yeah.
you know.
I
But
appreciate it.
if you go, I mean, bearing in mind our association now is what, 50 years old.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so if you go back to the number of people who've played,
Mm.
there must be loads of sets of ball in back of people's sheds.
Yeah.
People who have played and left the game.
Yeah.
Occasionally they come back, which
It's
is
always
good,
good. Yeah.
because you can come back to this game after you can leave it for 20 years and still come back
Yeah.
and play at a level.
Yeah. I left it for
Um,
10 and came back. So, but
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It does draw you back. I have to say
Yeah.
it's probably more like an addiction, I would say,
Yes. No, I agree. So,
or an affliction, one of those.
or a bit of both.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, listen, Barry, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it today. And obviously, you have the honor of being the first person to be interviewed by me, and I wanted to specifically pick you for your vast experience and knowledge. And today has been great. So I really look forward to playing you again in the very near future, and we'll see if we can get a team back together and see if we can get you back into the veterans.
Okay, Kev. Well,
All right,
it's been a pleasure talking to you.
and all my pleasure. Thank you so much. Catch you soon,
Speak
Barry.
soon.
Cheers
Yeah.
now. Bye bye. Bye.
Cheers.